Okay, folks, just like 2 weeks ago, and there's going to be 2 videos. One's going to be like an hour long, and the other one's going to be like 15 minutes. Hey, that's real life. Anyway, sorry for the interruption. As Sean said, that just really did happen.
It happened.
Hey, you know what? That's real life, right? We're not professionals. We're not on the, Earwolf Network for all those podcasts. You know, we're not in some studio. This isn't a camera. It's my iPhone. Yeah. You know, we do what we can. Anyway.
We do.
So, Rodney Hood takes a charge. Instantly, Bayham complains, gets kicked out of the game. After the game, he's quoted as saying it's the worst officiated, or the worst call he's seen this year. I've seen worse. But anyway. I instantly didn't react because I didn't get to see the live play. I saw the replay online. And from what I gather, that's such a judgment call. You know?
It is. It's a judgment call.
That I feel like 9 out of 10 times or 10 out of 10 times, it's going to be a different call every time. Charge, foul, charge, foul. It might be 50-50 on 5 for 5, 5 for the other.
What did you think that was?
I thought that was a good charge call because he had gotten position. He had not initiated the upward movement of the shot yet. And it says in the rules that if you have position, you are able to slide a little bit left or right with the man. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like he's shuffling his feet. He's just kind of Anyway, I just think within the scope of the rules, it was a charge, and it was a good call, just like the non-foul call was in the previous game. And I know, tit for tat, Duke won one, Duke lost the other one. You know, it's like easy for you to say this since they won. No, had they called that a blocking call, I would have been upset they called a blocking call. But after seeing the replay, I would have been like, okay, I can see how they would have called that a block. Because if they would have called a block, I could have seen. I would have understood.
Yeah.
It would have pissed me off to no end, but I would have understood.
Well, he also made the shot too, so it would have been an and one, and he would have had a free throw, and it would have been a different game.
So basically, it was a 5-point swing because of the charge and the technical, and then the possession. So it was literally like a 7-point swing.
Yeah, because then Boeheim got the 2 technicals and was ejected, and Quinn Cook made 3 of the 4, and it inflated the score. It ended the game, and that's what Jay Billis was talking about. As soon as Boeheim got ejected, the game was over because Duke made the free throws, got the ball, and it was a different situation. Yeah. If he had not gotten ejected, it was still a 2-point game, and Duke had the ball. It would have been a foul free throw shooting contest, and it would have been a different thing. But I agree with the refs. I think in that instance, it's the toughest call to make, the charge block call. And I think if it's obvious, then it's a charge. And if it's not obvious, you go with the charge 9 times out of 10 because most of the time the guy is moving. Believe me, I've been there. I've taken charges and I've gotten called for block fouls. The difference between the charge and a block is a millisecond. It's a judgment call. It's tough to do. And there have been times when I've taken charges and I know I was moving. It happens. Refs make a judgment call. In that instance, it stinks for the refs to somewhat decide the game on a call like that. Boeheim decided it himself when he did that tirade, and I have the ultimate amount of respect for Boeheim. But in that instance, it's a judgment call. I think it was the right call, and that's not me being a Duke fan. It's me being a basketball. Now I have knowledge of basketball, and I think that was a charge, and I think it was a good call. And I'm sad that it decided the game. It kind of put a damper on the win for Duke. It didn't really even feel like a win anymore. But it was a huge win for Duke. A terrible week for Syracuse. Terrible And it stinks because they're not the number 1 team anymore. And the point that I want to make right now, Duke beat the number 1 team in the nation, and they dropped a spot in the rankings because they previously lost to Carolina. I honestly think it's the best rivalry in college sports. Yankees-Red Sox, best rivalry in sports. Duke-Carolina is the best rivalry in college sports.
I'll agree with you on Duke-North Carolina. I can't wholeheartedly agree on the Yankee-Red Sox thing. But
I know you can't. But when those 2 teams play, it does not matter if one of them is ranked. It does not matter if both of those teams have lost every game they've played all season. It is a battle of titans, and they put everything they have into the game. And for one team to lose, you cannot landslide them out of the rankings because as the rankings tell me right now...
Especially if a road team loses.
If a road team loses. As the rankings tell me right now that Duke only fell 1 spot after losing to Carolina and beating Syracuse, that means that they were going to drop quite a bit more if they would have lost to Syracuse. Probably out of the top 5.
Yeah, 4 or 5 spots.
I don't care if North Carolina was unranked. They're on a hot streak, and they're a good basketball team.
And
That wasn't such a bad
Here's
loss
the thing.
for Duke.
What confuses me is if they were going to drop 4 or 5 spots, right? And North Carolina jumps from unranked to 19. Doesn't that indicate that the AP is also saying that North Carolina is better than they thought they were anyway?
Yes.
So
it doesn't make much sense to me. I would have left Duke
just
5,
left them at 5
or moved them up to 4. I think they should be ahead of Louisville, but that's just my personal opinion. But I was a little upset when I saw that that Duke was they were slighted a little bit after beating the #1 team. And we've
It's okay. In the AP, they're still ahead of Louisville.
We've had this discussion. The AP and the coaches poll, they're different, and I look at both. I tend to agree more with the AP, but Duke should be a top 5 team in the country because the performance they did against Syracuse was excellent, and they were playing really well against Carolina. Marcus Page just came on at the end, and it was just it's tough to win in Chapel Hill. It was a tough week, but Duke came out of it. They beat Syracuse, and that was a big win. And I learned a lot about Duke. I think they can very easily be a #1 seed. If they finished out the ACC strong, they'll play Carolina again. If they put a smackdown on Carolina, win by maybe 9 or 10, then I think they will be a #1 seed. And I don't have very many worries about Syracuse. I know they lost both games, but when you get Fair and Ennis going, Ennis and Cooney did not show up to play Duke, and they lost by a margin of error of about 2 or 3. Syracuse is still a really good team, and they're a #1 seed in my book. So. That's what I learned about college basketball. I don't have any worries for Duke. I don't have very many worries for Syracuse. And I think Florida's a little bit better than both of us thought.
Yeah, I was going to say the 3 or 4 things I learned over the weekend are Duke isn't as bad as I thought they are based on the split of the weekend. Also, I learned that Florida, like you said, they're a lot better than I gave them credit for about a month and a half ago. And the final thing I really did learn is Wichita State.
Say it.
They're going to need to win their conference tournament.
They will. They're not losing. They're not going to
be a
#1
seed.
They're not going to lose.
Because I had that rant last week about, this is a perfect scenario for Syracuse and Wichita State. Because last week by myself, I said, if Wichita State loses the regular season game but wins out in the conference championship, they don't deserve #1 seed. But if they win out and then they make it to the final and they lose some really weird double overtime, single overtime or like a buzzer beater shot against the second best team in their conference, they do deserve a #1 seed. Whereas conversely, I said in Syracuse, if they lose in the regular season and then win out in the ACC, or even if they make it to the finals and lose and they have 2 losses going into the NCAA tournament, they still deserve a #1 seed. No matter what. But I learned that I think Wichita State, they're on everyone's list of I'm waiting and hoping that you fail. Not mine, but...
Well, everyone wants to be a #1 seed, so if they fall, someone else gets to be a #1 seed.
And here's my question. How far do they fall if they lose 1 game in the standings? Because they're 2 right now.
Depends on what game they lose, but they're not losing. I think if they lose, they'll still be a top 10 team. They'll probably be rewarded with a 2 or 3 seed, maybe, but I agree. I think they have to go undefeated to be a 1 seed, but I think they will do it, so... I don't think they're going to lose. Their conference is so bad, and they're pretty good. So
for sure. And I will leave the college basketball discussion with this question for you.
Yeah.
After watching Creighton the last 2 weeks, how far? Honestly, I know I ask this almost every week to you, and you. I feel like you give me a closer answer to the Final Four every time.
That's how college basketball is. It changes every week.
So. How far do you think Creighton can go with McDermott playing like the way he is?
With the way he's playing,
because I kind of feel like if they get seated in the right bracket,
yeah,
they could go to a Final Four.
They could. I can realistically see the Elite Eight without a lot of trouble. And once you get to the Elite Eight,
then the big boys, no matter what they've gone through, is there.
If you get a 30-point performance from McDermott in the Elite Eight, then I could see a Final Four. I think their point guard. Forget his name. It's like Grant or Clark or something like that.
Depth, sure, roster.
He's a point guard. What is his name?
Point guard, Clement?
Grant Gibbs.
Oh.
Grant Gibbs. That's the guy.
Grant Gibbs.
So it's Grant. Grant Gibbs. He's a really good secondary player. He can be a good option for McDermott to go to in the tournament. Final Four, doable. Elite Eight, realistic. That's my thought on Creighton.
You know what? I agree with you. And that being said, it's Creighton, so that's still like wow. That's a good long ways.
Yes, it's very good for them.
So that's it for pretty much our show today. It's only a little bit over an hour this week. I know that we've been going about an hour 15, hour 30 lately, but we had a little concise effort today here. So thank you for listening. If you have any comments, disagreements, concerns, questions, feel free to visit our Facebook page or our YouTube page or our SoundCloud page. And so this is another close to another Monday. You have been listening to Sean and the Heckler in the basement in Studio A at KDVS UC Davis. So until next Monday, this is David DK Kim for my partner in crime, Sean Steimel. For all you podcasters out there, see you later and have a very, 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 very good week. Peace.
Congratulations, Dale Jr.
Yeehaw. NASCAR.
I got a bolt.
All right.
So I know that parking guy who's in the garage was eyeing me when I left, so I know he's
Was he?
probably stalking my car right now to make sure I'm there when I'm supposed to be.
All right, man.
Good show.
Yeah, man.
I'll see you tomorrow night for Aggie Talk. I'll be there.
Alrighty.
You gonna be there?
I will be there.
Awesome. See ya.
Later.